Good morning, gentlemen. There is no easy way to share the things that I'm about to share over the next few videos. It's about relationships. I've been in a relationship for 14 years. When I got into this relationship, I was in what we call here at Porn Reboot, the maintenance stage of my reboot. If you don't know what that is, go listen to my podcast, the Porn Reboot podcast, or just search for Porn Reboot on YouTube. You'll find me. I've always wanted to put out a video to share some of the experiences I've had. And I was very jaded because I'd see people put up videos like 12 things I've learned in my 1-year relationship. One thing for 1 month, right, that they've learned. Super jaded. You can even hear it in my tone. And so I waited 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Oh, I should shoot the video now. Nah, nothing to say. Things are up and down. 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. Okay, 10 years. But then I freaked out. So, 10 years, it's a decade, right? Didn't want to do anything because I was just, a part of me was feeling like, man, this is still luck, right? This is still luck. And so 12 years, 13 years, and so on. Now we just celebrated 14 years last week. And I've seen hundreds and hundreds of relationships fall apart. I've saved many relationships, fewer, to be honest with you, than have fallen apart. Anybody who tells you that they have saved more relationships than relationships that have failed, like they're just like, yeah, most of the people who talk to me, I saved they're a fucking liar. Send them my way. Tell me who that person is. Like, let me see their stats, right? But that's a story for another one of the videos in this series. And then I realized after seeing all these relationships fall apart that there is a formula, but the foundation and the baseline of that formula is absolute uncertainty and a willingness to let the relationship fall apart. That's going to be my first lesson to you guys. I am doing a series on 14 things I've learned in 14 years. Each one is going to be covered by one video. You may not, you probably won't agree with many of the things I have to say, right? You may just not even follow me anymore. Some of my clients might just be like, holy fuck, I didn't know that about you. But all I want to challenge you to do as we go through these series is to just keep an open mind. Just keep an open mind. Suspend your disbelief for a little bit, right? And realize that not every relationship is the same. That's something I've learned. Like, I've seen all sorts of relationships. My mindset has been changed. My paradigm has shifted from the clients that I've worked with. I've seen people who've been in 20-year relationships, like two people, 20-year relationships, both are happy. But each one would completely disagree with almost every aspect of the way that relationship has run. And I'm laughing, telling each of these clients separately that you guys are so happy in your relationship. Y'all have what you would define as a successful relationship. Yet there's another couple here that everything they do, you would disagree with it. You'd be like, there's no way. Like, in fact, the values you built up in your relationship to make it successful are the opposite values. How amazing is that? I think we put ourselves in boxes when we decide on the way relationships should be, when we decide on the way our marriage is supposed to be, right? We take the box that is given to us by the Matrix, and we try to squeeze our uniqueness as two individuals into this box of marriage that may not have been designed for you. And I believe that's one of the reasons why things fuck up. But in order to make it through, the first lesson I have for you is that you must always be willing to sacrifice the relationship for the sake of the other person. I'll say it again. You must always be willing to sacrifice your relationship for the sake of the other person. Getting into a relationship, when I got into a relationship, we agreed on one simple thing. We agreed on a few things, which I'll be sharing, but we agreed that we were just two awesome human beings who found out that when we spend our time together, we become more awesome. Our life experience was improved a little bit. Depth, like it was more enjoyable just by a little bit. Like the happiness level, the depth, the happiness level and the enjoyment of it went up like this, but the depth of life experience went up like this. Shit, but it's the convertible. I'm in a rental today, right? It was the Porsche. I'll go all the way fucking through into the sky, right? But two awesome people. People ask, well, why aren't you married yet? God, I fucking hate that question. Well, when are you gonna get married? When's the big day? After 10 years, people just stop asking you, right? For those of you who are dating, our response is just, we just love dating each other every year. We have the opportunity to date other people, right? We take care of ourselves. We're both charismatic individuals, right? We have access to attractive people around us. Attractive people always check in, right, for 14 years. But we keep working on ourselves. We keep improving. We keep growing. And sometimes, yes, to be honest, the growth sometimes goes like this. Like, oh, fuck. Like, shit, she's growing in a different way. This may not be in tune with my values, right? We may have to end the relationship. Or I grow in another way. Like, oh, shit, like, maybe I'm not resonating with the things he's doing. And we have to actually come together and have a meeting and recalibrate, right? Okay, cool. So you're going this way. This is important to you. You want to explore this thing in your life. You want to explore this thing in your life. Okay, well, I'm concerned about that, but let's go back to the base, right? Let's go back to the depth. What's the depth like? Has this growth path that you are on for your individual life, your salvation, your getting reconnected to the universe, this thing you're doing, has it impacted the depth of our relationship? Or is this some surface level shit? Is this the ego worrying about the relationship? If it hasn't affected the depth of the relationship, then the core, the external of the relationship, even that little bump in happiness, that's still on the core. That's still surface shit, right? That little I enjoy being with you thing, right? It's still on the surface. If the depth is not affected, we keep going. That's how it works. Anytime the depth is threatened, and anytime that depth starts eroding, we're done. It was a wonderful journey. It's going to end at some point. We're going to move on. You do not use the relationship box, the box created by the Matrix, to keep that shit together. I don't give up. People, my parents were married for 45. Nobody gives a fuck. It is 2023. Well, 22 now, but wait, there. Elevated recovery. Our year starts December 1st. It's 2023. Ain't nobody give a fuck how your parents went through it. You don't know their secrets. You don't know the shit that they had to go through. And guess what? Chances are your parents were more conditioned than you. They were deeper in the Matrix than you were. So why are you trying to attach conditioning that is not as strong as it was back in the day? The conditioning of marriage is not the same. The financials are not the same. None of that shit is the same, right? So forget all those things that you're using. You can if it's working for you, wonderful. I know there are pockets of people here and there who are continuing that line. And I've seen many successful relationships like that. But the point of all of this, regardless of whether it is a marriage, a long-term relationship, whatever it is, one of the things I've learned is always be willing to sacrifice it. If that person is not happy, if they're not experiencing the depth of it anymore, end it, right? Relationships die. Mine has died a handful of times. But each time we revived it, we had to be very careful that we were not doing it because of a very deep, unhealthy attachment. That is the key. It cannot be because of an attachment, right? Be wary. The attachment is always there. Don't get me wrong. We're still human beings. We still have egos. We're still trying to protect ourselves from pain. I still have the fear. Don't mind my certainty when I speak. I still have the fear of being alone. I still fear the pain, even as I speak about it. It's there. Of like, man, this thing that we've built together, of losing it. Very visceral fear that arises even when I talk about it. But the standard must be there. I understand that the standard is for my long-term happiness. And that which is within me that brings up fear. Yeah, sure, it's there. But it's not there to serve a deeper purpose. It's a biological fear. That's all it is, really. It's a biological fear of me not being able to continue my line, of me not being able to mate again, of me not being able to find a partner. A lot of this is obsolete biological wiring, which I'll talk about in another video. But that's my lesson for you guys today, right? I'd like to hear what your thoughts are about that. Always be willing to let the relationship go for the happiness of that person. Do not put the relationship on a pedestal. Do not worship on the altar of marriage. Don't use the good book or whatever religion you have either. Like, oh, the religion says this and it's this and it's this. Understand the origin of that religion, where it came from, why that thing existed, why marriage existed, and the time in which it existed, right? There's so many guys who just live in perpetual unhappiness because they won't say it, but their marriage, their union has become one of their gods. And it's the same people who will speak out in a very strong way, in a very religious tone about the things, oh, you worship materialism, you worship money, you worship, well, motherfucker, you worship your dead-end marriage, your sexless, dead-end, unhappy marriage, where you both motherfuckers are sleeping in different beds, where you're unhappy, where you're fucking roommates. Don't worship your religion. Don't worship your religion. Don't make your marriage a religion. Always be willing to sacrifice it, all right? Enough said. I'm JK, your brother in the struggle. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I'll see you on the next video in the series. Take care.